All right, everybody. Thank y'all for coming in. Um, I am Ethan. I'm going to be your group facilitator for today. I wanted to really start this group because a lot, as counselors, upcoming counselors, I know that there's a big major change coming up for you, some major evolution. So I just want to discuss some of the things that might come with it or anything that's been coming up for you as you're getting close to this major transition in your profession and in your personal lives. Yeah. So before we get into everything, y'all want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I can go. I'm Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say.
Mm,
She, her pronouns.
uh-huh.
Counselor in training here at Wake Forest Baptist Hospital.
Okay.
This is, I guess, second semester of the internship.
Mm-hmm.
With the NCG.
Uh-huh.
Clinical mental health counselor.
Love it. Okay.
There we go.
Cool. I'm Alicia. I go to Wake Forest. This is my second semester internship, and I did my practicum here too at Wake Forest Baptist.
Okay.
And I hope that I can keep working either in hospital setting or group practice or some other inpatient setting after graduate.
Okay. Thank y'all for sharing. That is I love seeing two very diverse communities, campus-wise, working together, facilitating, and kind of growing in this profession together. Um, I know part of like the requirements of the group, saying that y'all were about to graduate. How are y'all feeling in the sense of master's degree program is about to be done? How do y'all feel about that?
I definitely don't feel like I'm okay. To be completely honest, I don't really know if I'm ready to see patients in another setting yet. I don't think that means I'm not ready. I just think I don't feel ready, and I think a lot of it is because so many of the sessions here are not the traditional 50-minute sessions. So I feel like a little less equipped to handle that setting with a long-term client, and I haven't had that much. I haven't had no practice with that, so that's kind of a place where I feel like maybe a little bit like ill-equipped.
Interesting. What about you, Mackenzie?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I did have some experience during my practicum experience for our school. There's like a campus clinic that we work at, and so we see clients there. And so I had experience doing like the 50-minute sessions in that capacity, but it's been a minute since I've done that. It's been a whole year since I've done that. So it feels like I'm excited to potentially go back into that world again, but I've gotten so used to seeing patients, like what you were saying, in such short spurts, or like it could be a longer session. It just kind of depends, but like knowing that it'll be 50 minutes feels a little daunting, and knowing like that it will be more long-term care, like I do have this imposter syndrome of like, will I know what to do? Will I know, what interventions to try, and like just what things look like working with someone longer than just one or two sessions. So I think I'm nervous about that, but I know I'll be able to do it. I did this, so I'm sure I can do that too. It's just like the unknown part is a little scary.
Right. So a little anxiety inducing, but I love the word that you use. I love the term imposter syndrome. This idea that despite some of the major accolades that you've garnered, like you've created, the skills that you've learned that you've been implementing for the past year and a half, I should say, those not in your mind not being congruent with success in your field. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
So when you think about, Alicia, to your point, kind of some anxiety about moving into a more traditional counseling space, hearing Mackenzie's perspective of, hey, I've done this thing, I've done traditional counseling, and I've been doing this. And there are some differences, but would you say that the skills have been able to transfer equally?
Yeah, and like I think for me, something that was a skill that I had that was pretty strong from the get-go was rapport building, and so I think that is one of the biggest skills that we have in the hospital, seeing patients so short term.
Right.
So I think a lot of those skills do transfer really well in a long-term space. I think we do learn a lot about like thinking on our feet while we're here, and like how to pivot quickly, and different providers coming in. So like I think it's nice knowing that there aren't going to be any distractions when you're seeing a client in a long-term space. And so I do think while it might seem like some of these skills don't go there as easily, I do think that they can. You just use it
Right.
on a quicker basis, if that makes any sense.
Right.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No, yeah, there's a in this unique setting that you're in, the structure is not as structured as a typical 50-minute session that you're seeing one client. And so what I was kind of connecting is the anxiety that you might be feeling about going into a space where it's very different from the counseling space that you're used to. What do you think, some skills that you've kind of fostered and honed in on since you've been in this non-traditional space? How might you decide to fit that into a more traditional mold?
I mean, I think that's a really good question because I do feel like even thinking about that builds confidence, right? But I think that I do feel like my basic skills are pretty strong, and they probably would be stronger here than they would be in any other setting because we have the opportunity to record and review recordings every single week. And so every week I'll have boys listen to a recording, and then like I will record and listen to a recording with Madison, and then also one of her recordings. And so because of that, I feel like the degree of self-awareness and like humility, maybe I would say, that's fostered in an openness that's fostered in me has been exponentially higher here than in any other setting because of the ability to record and to get feedback. And I feel like actually most of my growth can be attributed to and not actually just being the session patient. Because there's so many learning opportunities and things that I miss that I don't recognize until I listen to it again. So I think that all of that also transfers to after this, which makes me recognize that I should be recording almost every session if possible with
Right.
just as a default. It's like if you're my patient, I'm going to record a session. This is going to be confidential. Like I'm just going to review it and then recognize how important it is to review those like later on. So that's a transferable skill too. Yeah.
And you're priming yourself for what that associate license comes, like the constant need for supervision, like you're always back and forth trying to make sure that you're matriculating well in your profession and you're also being able to hone in and like execute those skills that you've learned, one from your master's program and being out in the field.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's true.
Right.
And I feel like that's the one strength of being here. Like I guess like Liz asked for a year and a half to move in, and even though she asked for that and I wasn't thinking about leaving, I was like, oh, if I really had wanted to leave, I could have. It's not like you're forced like
right
change to the desk here, right? And so, but I think it's been such a good experience, like working with her and getting her feedback and stuff like that I think it was a good idea to stay. So, yeah.
Mackenzie, I saw you shake your head. Is your experience congruent to Alicia's?
Yeah, like I really loved my experience here. Like I think it's been so difficult in some ways, but I also feel like it's been so wonderful because I feel like I have grown so much in my skills just because I feel like you have to do it in such a short amount of time with a patient that like you kind of have to build that connection and that safety with your patient so fast that I think has allowed me to grow a lot as a counselor. And I think the staff here is really wonderful. Like I feel like it's all just very supportive group of people, so I think it's made it easier to learn these things in this space because everyone's been so helpful and kind. And I do think this, like the medical staff, like for the most part, are pretty aware of what we're doing, and they're really supportive of what we do. So I think that also helps a lot. Where I don't feel like, at least in my experience, I haven't felt like I had to say this is why I'm here and it's important. The medical staff are aware of that too, so I think that also makes it helpful to have this in this space and make it easier to do in this space. I've enjoyed it a lot.
That's good. That's
this
good.
is like a doctor.
Right. In that ballpark, do you feel like you've been able to work well with other care team members?
I do. I mean, sometimes I do feel like it can be hard, like when I'm in a patient's room and they pop in and like it's in the moment assessing like, okay, should I keep doing what I'm doing and like they can come back, or should I let them come in and do anything and interrupt my session? So and it's like doing it in front of the patient too. So it's like you have to kind of gauge in the moment like what is most important for the patient, what they are hoping for, what the other person's schedule looks like. It's like and that analyzing that all in the same moment can be hard. And there have been times when like the person that comes in is like kind of rude about
Mhm.
it, and that makes it harder.
Right.
But for the most part, they've been really kind about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that you've been able to find a way to one advocate for yourself, and then of course advocate for the needs of your client that you're working with. In again a very untraditional, a very non-traditional space. Because of course, the hearing what y'all have stated about working with other primary care providers, and like you said, being able to gauge whether, hey, is this is something that can wait because I'm in the middle of working on like some heavy stuff with our clients, or being like, we can take a pause, take a breath, so you can assess and tend to the needs of the client. Seems like a very interesting like tug of war that you have to do. Do you have similar experiences, Alicia?
Yeah, I feel like it's been interesting because I go to burn-rounds every week, and
Mhm.
like, I feel like they're getting more feedback from the counseling team in burn-rounds where
Mhm.
I think they want us to report out, and if we did have something to say, they would be interested. So there's like, even the rec therapist will sometimes say something about a patient, and people will be like, oh yeah, I didn't know that, or like, oh, that's
Right.
useful to know, right?
Mhm.
And so that's helpful. I do think that like some providers, I feel like, are not really aware of who we are, and so they'll just come in and like not be like, oh, what team are you on? Oh, okay, that's like, like especially
Right.
if you're being consulted on a floor
Mhm.
that's not part of our 8 or 10 or like the trauma or the burn.
Right.
But people are pretty respectful. I think that like I do feel like there's like a hierarchy here, right? Like if the doctor
Right.
comes in, even if you're in the middle of a session with the patient, you probably will let the doctor speak to the patient.
Right.
But if it's like a respiratory therapist or like
Mhm.
a PT or something like that, you can like ask them to wait.
Right.
So and people are usually pretty respectful. Yeah. So, but aside from,
Mhm.
yeah, I would always like allow the doctor to come in and talk to the
Right.
patient because they have like less time. I
Less
guess.
time. Right. And it's more urgent. I can understand that. But in that again, that tug of war that I was saying, you still have to have a lot of understanding of your own professional identity and that
Mhm.
confidence to be like, hey, I know that we're dealing with different continuums of care here. I know they need to see this person, they need to see OT, they might need to see PT, all these other important entities. However, I'm just as important as you are.
Yeah, I do think that
Uh-huh.
that's important.
Come on in, come on in.
I was looking for Liz. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
I have a situation with the patient.
Oh, spooky.
Not spooky. It's okay. But have y'all?
So we have another person coming in to join us. Do you want to introduce yourself to the group?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Tejado. I'm a student in the rehabilitation counseling program at Winston-Salem State University.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my practicum here at the hospital.
Awesome. Welcome. I think we left off with you, Alicia. We were kind of talking about being confident in your professional identity as it relates to advocating for yourself and advocating for the needs of your patients.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm at a point now where if someone comes in interesting that's not a doctor, I'm like, hey, by the way, we still need to do this for the patient. Like,
Right.
Whereas in the beginning, I was like, oh, sure, go ahead. I'm like, wait a second, like, I'm also providing a service, like,
Right.
that seem right. So I feel like a lot more comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, with that experience.
Gotcha. Well, Tejado, since you're kind of jumping in, how have you felt being in your practicum site here in the hospital?
It's definitely different.
Mhm.
I think what's been very helpful for me is having the team and being able to lean on the other interns and get support and ask questions, and everyone's been extremely helpful and supportive. So that definitely has helped to, I guess, shorten that that onboarding, getting up to speed process.
Right.
So it's been good, and I've been kind of like, quote unquote, out on my own for
Right.
3 years now. I'm getting more comfortable with being in spaces with patients and kind of dealing with some of the interruptions and those kind of things that we
Right.
talked about, but also being present.
Mhm.
And an interesting thing that I've just found is that I found in this environment, in this setting, people seem to get really vulnerable really quickly.
Mhm.
And that's been a pleasant, surprising part of the work here.
Right.
I think people also feel comfortable with you usually, like your presence. So I've noticed that when you're people and they're like, oh man, I just want to tell you all my secrets.
I think it's more to do with the setting, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank
So again, in that same ballpark of, y'all have all been collaborating together, working together, learning from each other. What have been some things that you've learned from some of the people in the group so far, if any, that you have to share? Any strengths, observations?
Wait, sorry.
Uh-huh.
You
No,
were just asking me.
No, the group.
Oh,
I'm gonna say
sorry.
I'm just
Oh.
scanning the room. So whoever wants to go first, if you
I
have
was
any.
like, wait, I need to think for a second.
Well, since I'm kind of the newest one here, one of the great things that I got to do early on is kind of hitch a ride with
Mm-hmm.
several of the interns and see how each of them operated and going in, being there with Mackenzie and seeing how she, walked in and kind of did the confidentiality and kind of all that stuff and then kind of talked through that and saw her process and doing the same with Alicia and with Madison. One, it gave me a great view of kind of similarities of kind of some things that we're supposed to do in this environment, but also that we can still be us. And
Right.
How our personalities
Mhm.
kind of flow into how we show up in that moment, who we are in that moment. And so that felt freeing as well, to be able to say, hey, you bring yourself to this work.
Right.
And just be you. So.
Yeah, that combination of your professional identity and then your personal identity and how those two work hand in hand.
Yeah, what you said.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me has been like being able to get feedback from other people about my work. Like if I play a recording during the group or like with Liz or with someone else and getting their like Madison is really good about being like, yeah, I don't think that works. So like, I think that she and I just have that rapport because we
Right.
spend so much time. We see each other like 5 days a week, right? Like or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were in class too the days that we're not here.
Right.
So I think we I used to give her rides every day back and forth.
Mhm.
So it would be like, so we have that. But I also just feel like the like group supervision, like getting feedback from everyone else during that too, just case conceptualization and stuff is super helpful.
Right.
And feelings and strategies. So yeah. I'm glad that I'm not the only intern here. That makes me really sad.
Right.
Yeah, I've noticed many people in my cohort that they're the only intern at their
Their
site.
site,
And I'm like,
Mm.
how do they do that? Like, they're just surrounded by like people that are complete professionals that know. I mean, they have a lot more years of experience, and so I'm like, that would be kind of intimidating.
Mhm.
So to have other people that are going through the same thing is really helpful and like bouncing off reviews from each other. And like, I think for me, the most helpful thing is having group supervision, having time to like ask questions about like the patient that you just saw, or the one that you're about to go see, and like, how do you approach this person?
Mhm.
What do you say in this situation when like this is how they're coming across? Like I noticed, especially with like patients that have some substance use history,
Mhm.
I sometimes struggle with like figuring out how to show up in the room when that comes up, and like how to approach that conversation when someone isn't interested in change yet, or they're not quite ready, or whatever. And so like I think that's really been helpful for me to grow that skill by bouncing that off of other people in this group. So.
That's good. It sounds like y'all have a very, very tight knit group that y'all are all working towards, your own betterment and your own professional development. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, I do feel really supported here.
That's good. Now, Tejado, because we started off kind of discussing how both Mackenzie and Alicia are graduating this semester. Where do you fall in your matriculation?
I think I'm a year and a half into my program. So I'm finishing up practicum now.
Right.
And then I still have 600 hours of internship. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do those 600 hours in the fall.
Right.
And just be done and graduate in December, or more likely do it over the course of 2
Right.
semesters and finish up next May.
Right, in May.
So that's
Mhm.
kind of where things are. Another kind of caveat to my situation
Right.
is that I already have a master's in counseling, and I'm applying for licensure now.
Oh, wow.
So I've got one class this semester that I've got
Mhm.
to finish in order to finish up my application. And so I'm really hoping to actually, hopefully, get my license this summer.
Mm-hmm.
And that way the hours that I do in the fall would count
Towards your
practicum.
uh-huh.
I mean, internship
Mm.
and my licensure.
Oh, right.
Nice.
That's the ultimate goal. That's what I would hope that I
Wow.
can get done, so.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. That'd be great. Now, your licensure is in clinical mental health,
Yes,
right? But you're currently you're in your rehabilitation program track. I just want to make sure I had that correct.
correct.
So again, as somebody that is on the cusp of licensure, what are some words of wisdom that you might be able to impart?
Don't wait 20 years like me. And as a caveat to that, listen to your wife, who reminds me every day that I should have applied for licensure 20 years ago when she told me.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a lot when you apply for licensure. They take you through a lot of hoops. So,
Mhm.
so I applied 2.5 years ago,
Mhm.
and then that's when I found that I was short a couple of classes.
Right.
From my program was short a couple of classes, so I had to find a new program and get into these classes and that kind of thing. Ended up in a whole new program. I just needed 2 classes.
Wow.
But I think the process can be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
But another benefit of being here at this site
Mm-hmm.
is that one of our staff members is the current chair of the licensing board.
Now,
Really?
isn't that
What
something?
what's her name?
Dr. Gaze is the chair of the licensing board.
I didn't
No
know
way.
that.
I didn't know that
The
either.
chair
What the heck?
of the licensing
So we
board.
need to cut that.
So you would need to talk to Dr. Gay
Mhm.
and
I had no
Well,
idea.
that is a great nugget to share
Oh, the
with
NC
the group.
Board
of the NC licensing
Board
board.
of Licensing.
Look on their website. The chair
Right.
is Dr. Yasmin Gay.
So, Alicia and Mackenzie, now that on top of being at the point where you're graduating, you're also beginning this licensure process. What has that been something that's been on your mind, or you just I just want to focus on getting the degree first?
That's an interesting question because
Mhm.
I at first she has a chair. Okay.
That's
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought that was someone else, but okay,
Mhm.
all right. Well,
right.
yeah. So like I thought I would take the exam on the end of April, but now
Mhm.
after thinking about how stressed I am with the semester ending,
Mhm.
I might just wait. I was gonna take the exam at the end of April because I wanted to get licensed by September,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed to get the application materials by May in order to get it into the board by July.
Right.
And so like all of that lining up. But
Mm-hmm.
how I feel about it is like I definitely feel like it's weird to think about the fact that I am gonna be like a licensed counselor,
Mhm.
even if it's an associate licensed counselor. Like
Right.
I'm like at one point I texted my brother, I was like, I just registered for the NCE. If I pass this and like, I'll be on my application materials go through, I'll actually be an associate licensed counselor. LMFAO. And my brother was like,
That's licensed family mental, licensed family.
associate organizer.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's so funny.
That is
But
too
like,
funny.
I said that because I was like, me? Can you? And then the follow-up text I sent was like, can you imagine that? Me, a licensed counselor? LOL. And my brother just like laughed and he was like, you did get the degree, but it just shows you like how absurd I think that entire thing is. Like the
Really?
difference between
Mhm.
my sense of myself where I am now and
Mhm.
the fact that I have this license is like
They're on
like,
two
far apart.
opposites.
Well, as someone who's been in
Mhm.
the room with you and seen you work with patients, That is not absurd
Okay, well,
At
thank
all.
you for the vote of confidence, I appreciate that, yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's fine.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's definitely a
Mhm.
little weird. I'm
Right.
like, me? Like what you were saying, like, allowed to like be a little bit more on my own. Allowed to like, I don't know, I've been seeing patients on my own. Like,
Right.
this semester and last semester, and seeing clients like at our clinic, what was that, a year ago?
Mhm.
But like at the same time, I'm like, okay, but I had so much more supervision at this point, and so to not be a student anymore
Mhm.
feels strange. So like it just feels like even more like you're really adult and you're really a counselor now
Mhm.
because you're not a student anymore. So I definitely feel that like whoa.
Mhm.
LOL. It's so silly that you think I
Mhm.
should be doing that. But like I know I've seen how much I've grown since last year, so I'm like,
Right.
okay, I've grown a lot since then.
Mhm.
I'll continue to grow and get better.
Mhm.
But it does still kind of feel like I think there's some more growing that needs to
Right.
happen first. But I think we'll get there. We're making our way, and I think in terms of like the exam stuff, like I'm starting to think about it. All
Right.
the other times I've taken it, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
so they all passed, so I'm so happy that they passed, and I'm like, okay, I'm scared now, because what if I don't?
Mhm.
But I'm ready to just get it
over with.
and then like do the licensure application stuff. One of my friends just finished applying, and she was like, it wasn't that bad. She's like, you can start now before you take the exam, so I might try to start doing it between now and like graduation, so I can like kind of get the ball rolling, because I think
Mhm.
the hardest part is getting started
Right.
with all that. So I think,
Mhm. Right.
Exciting.
Right. Now, in that process that you get, well, of course, you and Alicia are in that process right now. Are there any, because you talked about imposter syndrome, and Alicia, you talked about a feeling of disconnection from who you are as a person and the idea of you
Yeah.
being a counselor.
Yeah.
What are there anything? Are there any thoughts that are coming up for you that are like affirming that these are two different people? Like one, I'm too different from what my professional identity should be, or the idea of I might not pass. Is there anything that you feel like is affirming that at all in your mind?
Well, like Mackenzie, if I can give you some of that actual, so I talked to two of my cohort mates who took the exam, and then and I think OCG's in the rigorous starting week, right? And they both, one of them said she studied for 10 hours, and she only got 30 out of 260 questions wrong. She crammed for 10 hours, 5 hours a day the 2 days before.
wow.
And the other one said that he studied passively for 20 hours, and he also aced it. And then he also said, like aced it being like close to an 80, meaning like a 65 or something pass. And he said that he took the metrics exam, and it was like he got the same exact score on the metrics free practice exam online as he did on the actual NCE. So he would recommend like doing that. And they both said the things to study are groups, assessment, and there is something else, career, and then everything else you can just leave that. They both said the exact same thing. They're like, those are just the things that you should review, and everything else you can just leave. So if that helps you with your confidence at all, just some facts.
Right.
But to actually answer your question,
Right.
I think the difference between who I am and the identity is like probably the definition of imposter syndrome.
Right.
Right? And I do think that Mackenzie, what you said earlier helps. It's like, oh, look at how much you've grown now. And like recognize that you can continue to grow if you just apply the same amount of effort. And so I feel like after hearing that, I do think I do it a lot better.
Right. And growth is constant. If you're not growing, you're being stagnant. So, and nobody's expecting you to be God tier counseling.
Exactly.
So it's important to one acknowledge that you've made it this far.
Yeah.
From the report of your colleagues and your fellow interns, that you are masterful when it comes to dealing with patients, dealing with clients. And on the other side of things, that you're not supposed to be you're not supposed to be great instant.
Like elite. Yeah.
You're never supposed to be elite
Yeah.
first year out.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
hold that
Thank you.
hold that space for yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course.
I think it also helped when I like have my first successes, like treatment successes,
Mhm.
like once I see patients leave and they're like, you really helped me do this, you changed
Right.
my life. Like, I could be like, oh, okay, let me listen to this recording. Like, what did I do right? You know,
Right.
how can I learn from that? That will also help too. Like recognizing that kind of this, it's not just like telling self-talk, positive self-talk, but it's like
Mhm.
being able to actually do something for others and see that will help too in the future. And that, like, I will have that if I continue to work at it.
And I think with that too, like if you're seeing someone more long term and like you can see their changes from day one versus like
Mhm.
Just
session
like one
20.
session. Yeah.
Right.
Like you can see improvement, you can see their change, you can even hear them say, "Wow, look how much I've changed! Like you really helped me because of X, Y, Z." Like
Mhm.
that's something that you can see. It's really affirming
Right.
when you can hear that. Like I definitely feel like, not to toot my own horn, but like when I was in AP, like there were definitely some of my clients that like I saw some improvement in just like a few sessions that I had with them, and like they would say like that was really helpful. Like even though we didn't like most of them, I only saw them for like 4 sessions.
Mhm.
In that time, there was a lot of improvement. And I feel like that was really nice to hear.
Mhm. Get that direct feedback from the people that you're serving. Tejado, anything coming up for you when it comes to, finally completing your 20-year licensure process?
I think one of the things I'm learning now more than ever is, and I don't think that I had a good grasp of this when I did my first master's 20 years ago, is that the stuff that we learn, the therapy, the theories, the techniques, all this stuff is important. But the most important thing is just showing up. It's presence. And that's what Carl Rogers,
Mhm.
Carl.
Yeah.
That's what person-centered is all about, right?
Right.
And so I hear you, Alicia, say, someone says, oh, you really helped me, and so, I want to go back and I want to study that tape to see, well, what did I say? What did I do?
Mhm.
And sometimes it's not about what we said or what we did. It's that we brought presence and gave that person space to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. I think I'm learning to lean more into that
Mhm.
than feeling this pressure, or I have to come up with this great technique or figure out this great thing to help this person. The big thing is just showing up. And that gift of presence means more than just about anything else. And that's shown even in evidence-based,
Mhm.
that the Therapeutic Alliance is one of the biggest determinants of successful outcomes. It's how we're able to connect and provide presence. So I remember last week, the week before, when you came in, Alicia, you said something like, oh, I just spent an hour and a half with this patient and I don't think I helped them, or such and such and such. And I was like, no, you spent an hour. If you weren't helping them, they'd have kicked you out like 10 minutes in. The fact that that person wanted to talk for an hour and a half, it meant you were providing some service, some care, some gift to that person. And sometimes I think we put these expectations on ourselves that we have to come up with this grand thing, when the grand thing is sitting there, being present. That's my spiel.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Alicia, how does that feel?
No,
Hearing
it
that
feels,
from
it feels good to hear
Tejado.
that. I mean, I think that that reminds me, Carl. I think it's, I don't know who said this. It was like Yalom or Rogers or something like that. But he was like, it is the relationship that it heals. Like the relationship is the curative factor. And yeah, I do think that the research shows that, like, I don't know, the correlation's like 0.35 or something between like the strength of the therapeutic alliance and outcomes, so it accounts for like 7% of the variance, which is like not super high, but it is also the most robust predictor, which is like, it's consistently a predictor of outcomes, for sure. So.
That was great. That was good. So as we wrap up, when it comes to how you're feeling now, as you're balancing all of these different roles, all these milestones that you're about to cross, how have you been managing your day to day? or how have you not been managing?
I mean, it's. I feel like because we're so close to the end. In my head, I'm like, okay, just keep moving forward. Just like, make it work. You can do anything for a short amount of time. So I do feel like I've been bad about like really taking the time to enjoy this last part of the master's experience. Because I feel like this is like the last time I'll probably ever be a student, which is weird. But I feel like it's hard when like you're like the end is so close. It's like you just focus on getting to the end, but it is about like the experience as well. And so I want to try to enjoy this last month-ish, I think. Which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I'm excited for what's next and scared, as we've said, but I think it'll be good, and I think I'm more ready than I think I am. I don't remember what your full question was, but I just started talking. And,
No, I think you answered it. Are there any specific, because also on the self-care end of it, how have you been managing that?
It could be better.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I definitely am someone that will make sure to like I do all the assignments and all the things. And, like sometimes that means taking time out of like sleep and doing things that I need to feel like my brain and like make me feel good and stuff like that. So I think I'm trying to be better about that last month that we have, and like taking time to like read my book,
Right.
or like go outside or sleep more or exercise or something, because those are all things that make me feel better. I'm talking to my friends, like it's just like all those little things really do make a big difference by the end of the week. And the weeks that I've noticed that I did not do that, I'm like, ooh.
You're overwhelmed.
That was a week. So I think I want to try to be better about that going forward.
Yeah, I feel like self-care is so important. Everyone says that, but I feel like my pattern in the past, like 30 years of my life has just been do something really intensely, burn out after 3 weeks, do it again, burn out after 3 weeks, do it again, burn out after 3 weeks. Think about like my first master's degree within the first 4 months of the program, I was thinking maybe I should drop out of this program because I'm crying all the time. And I think this program, the evidence that I've changed is that I don't think I've felt that sense of burnout since the first year. And I think that it has to do with just like really listening to myself when I feel the urge to stop and just stop it. Like it's that simple. And I think it's like I'm really fortunate that I don't have any responsibilities outside of school because I've saved up enough money to like put myself in this situation. Not everyone is in this situation. Some people are working full time, have a GA shift, like have to carry it and all of that stuff. And that's not everyone can do that. But I would say like that's like a lesson that took me a really long time to learn. Like I have to moderate my energy because I have such an intense energy and I can just do so much at once that I have to be able to just do 70%. And doing 70% has been so hard, but also so rewarding because that means I can actually do this and finish.
Right.
So.
Shada?
Well, I can certainly identify with both Mackenzie and Alicia's. Yeah, I have a tendency to work hard and then crash. I will say I used to have a tendency. I've gotten a lot better with that just in the past couple of years, but life taught me that. I just have too many crashes at some point you can't recover from. So I had to make some really big changes, lifestyle changes, so that I wouldn't continue that pattern of go real hard, crash, go real hard, crash. I still have to monitor that, and this is where it's important to have good people in your life who can help you see some of that stuff too, because I'll start saying yes to a lot of things, and sometimes my wife will be like, "Oh, you need to watch out for that," and that helps me not to go back into that space. But so being able to do things with self-care is important, and just being intentional about that. For me, that's part of it is journaling. It's spending time prayer, meditation. So yeah, all that's important.
As we wrap up, as y'all wrap up these last 2 months, like last month in Tejado, as we're wrapping up your first practicum semester, are there any goals that you want to hit before you wrap up everything, or just get to the finish line?
I just want to get to the finish line.
I think the biggest thing for me, this is like maybe too granular, but I just need one theory recording, whether it be like, and I haven't been able to get one, and I need to figure out how to do that. And I think I'm gonna be able to do it, but just bigger picture goal is like to just stay healthy and well regulated until the end, and that means continuing to just do 70% up until the end. Even if I'm
Continue
just like,
70%. I love
I can
it.
like pound it instead of pounding it, like just keep on, just taking it slow and easy.
No, easy. 75%. I love that.
I mean, I was gonna say like
Mhm.
my hours. Hours, like, gotta
Right.
get that done.
Mhm.
But I think similar to what Alicia was saying, like I think trying to be better about like taking care of like what I need to do to try to get to the end. If, like you were saying, like crashing out so many times
Right.
is not gonna help. So like I'm trying to make this last month not crash out. Let's like do it in the most well way that I can, and like take time when I need to. Only doing 75% if I need to, or less if I need to. Like just giving what I can and like listening to myself so that like I don't burn out before I even get started as a counselor.
That's good. That's good. Well, I appreciate y'all sharing and coming in. I'm excited for all of your endeavors, all of this matrix success, all these major milestones in your both personal and professional lives. And I hope to see y'all soon.
Thanks, Ethan.
Of course.